I appreciate your comment that it is time to re-examine the third-party regime in our Elections Act. But my question is about the way that your office interprets the laws that we have in place already. You stated here today, and you said this in your annual report as well, that a third party can use foreign contributions to fund activities that do not include the transmission of election advertising messages. This includes carrying out election surveys, setting up election-related websites, and using call services to communicate with electors. But I would like to point out that Section 331 of the Canada Elections Act states, no person who does not reside in Canada shall, during an election period, in any way induce electors to vote or refrain from voting, or vote or refrain from voting for a particular candidate unless that person is Canadian, a Canadian citizen, or a permanent resident. So with that section in mind, how is it that you are saying that it is legal for foreign entities to participate in election-related activities?
In order to be a third party, which may play a role in the context of an electoral campaign, the third party has to have links with Canada. If you're dealing with a company, for example, it has to carry on business in Canada. If you're dealing with an association or a group of people, the person responsible for that group or that association has to reside in Canada. And it applies also to Canadian citizens and permanent residents and so on. So to the extent that we are dealing with third parties that have a place of business in Canada that are, let's say, Canadian, then the role that they play is a role that is, under the Act as it currently reads, a role that is quite legitimate.
So I'm a registered third party. I'm a third party of one Canadian, and I can receive, from what I just heard you say, I could take a check of $10 million from Saudi Arabia, from Iran, from China. I can take any amount of money from a foreign contributor, so long as I, a Canadian, am receiving it.
The legislation as it reads now looks at contributions received by a third party within a period of 6 months before the drop of the writ to the end of the electoral campaign. So that is the period during which contributions that are received by a third party will be regulated.
But there's an obvious loophole there, which is if I take the contribution 6 months plus a day and I, save it until the writs drop, I'm now using unlimited foreign funds because there is no restriction on the amounts. And I can use that for my election activity.
Then, if the money was received before the 6 months, it comes mingled into the funds of the third party, and then the third party, under the regime as we have it now, is free to use that money.
Do you not think Canadians would be really alarmed to understand what you just said, that in fact, except for this kind of technicality that you have to take the money 6 months before the election, and we have fixed election dates now, so that's not difficult to figure out. So long as you receive that money 6 months plus a day before the election, you can receive unlimited amounts of foreign money from any source around the world to use in an election.
Sorry. What I would say, Senator Frum, is I go back to my opening remarks, which is that issues of significance have been raised. The one that you raised is one of those, which, in my view, deserves Parliament taking the time to looking at the situation, trying to understand what has happened, what is likely to happen, and then take measures in a way that would, as we discussed with Senator Baker, that would ensure that there is compliance with the Charter and other values, and then decide what to do. Keeping in mind, again, that the Supreme Court of Canada has said that the objective of maintaining a level playing field is for them a very important objective.
Okay,